I made it back from Ohio safe and sound. It's a fairly uneventful trip, just a lot of driving back and forth on I-80. And what I brought back is a box of tubes, and more importantly, what's underneath the box of tubes, which is a TV from the late 50s by General Electric. It's part of their coaxial series of TVs. Also, I've heard these referred to as slimline TVs. They take advantage of the same technology as the Predictas with the 110-degree deflection angle picture tubes, so it's a rather shallow set. And they exaggerated the effect in this particular model by having a top that's deceptively skinny because the back actually does stick out quite a bit further. I like this design in particular, and so do a lot of other people, because it's got this Danish modern styling. There were, I think, maybe half a dozen models. I think there's a brochure online. I'll see if I can dig it up and post a link to it. And I think this is one of the earlier generations. I think they made this set for 2 or 3 years. A friend of mine has one in a metal cabinet that has a remote control option. It actually uses an RF remote. So unlike, say, Zenith that had the Flashmatic and later the clicky tuning fork ultrasonic remotes, this used RF, and the remote control actually looks a lot like a garage door opener. And it has a servo motor in it, and it's a pretty cool set on that. You can change the channel and I think turn it off and on, and probably change the volume too via remote control. At any rate, mine doesn't have that, but it does have the UHF option installed. So I'll point out a couple bad things right away. Obviously we got a stain on the top. Or it's not even a stain. Actually the finish is gone. Obviously it looks like somebody set something down and it kind of like oozed out or spilled over. But it's not a stain. There's actually a ridge there. So this is probably a lacquer finish. I don't think they had polyurethane yet in 58 or 59. But something sure ate through this. I don't think it damaged the wood, or at least I hope it didn't. And we got the usual latex paint flecks. The rest is in pretty good shape though, so what I'm hoping I can do is just do this top surface and not affect the rest. The other bad thing is missing knobs. I just found out from someone else that has these that these are prone to breaking because they're thin plastic. At least I know what they look like, assuming these are originals anyways. So I got bright and contrast, which are 2 independent knobs, and this one's even chipped a little. And I'm missing a single vertical knob, which probably is the same as these two, but maybe glued together into a single knob. Likewise for the on-off, it's got a push-pull, and then rotate for volume. And there's the coaxial name. Now, I don't think that has anything to do with coaxial cable. I believe what that name is referring to is the other notable feature of this series of sets, which is the massive speaker down below. The speaker is about the same width as the screen, which is just ridiculous. This is probably the largest speaker ever used in a vintage TV. Now, before we get into the insides of the TV, I want to show you the paperwork that came with it. I got this from the son of the original owner, who was a dentist in Napoleon, Ohio. And he still had everything, including the original receipts and the installment payments. And January 10th, 1959, that's when I bought it. So that's why I'm thinking the set was probably made in 1958. And $386.25 when you factor in the tax. I guess the price was $375. What I thought was kind of interesting is that the hardware store they bought it from was just down the road from where I got the set. So I imagine this set spent its entire life in the same house. And we've got the original owner's manual and some other things. Some warnings about cleaning the safety plastic screen over the front of the CRT. I thought this was kind of neat. Genuine walnut. So, Apparently it's genuine American walnut and all exposed solid parts and walnut face veneers on the plywood surfaces. So this, I imagine, is walnut veneer. And these rails, I guess that means they're solid walnut. And here's the owner's manual. So that's their stylized version of the American family room in the late 50s. Oh, okay. So we have a picture, so now I know exactly what the knobs look like. So these knobs did not have the outer. So I guess I'm just looking for two more of this inner type knob. I'll dig through my knob boxes I've acquired over the years, and I probably won't find those exact knobs, but if I can find a set of something that fits and looks halfway decent, that'll do for now. Not a whole lot to it, really. Warranty, some basic stuff about reception, how to plug it in, various types of interference and what might be causing them, and some stuff about how to hook up the antenna and how to tune in UHF. That's a pretty crude version of UHF. You put the VHF dial in UHF and then you just tune the outer knob. Inside, there's just a single tube oscillator mixer, and then it feeds the signal into the conventional VHF tuner. There's some info on the back. For example, there's the model number 21C2465 UHF, and on the inside we have the tube lineup. Fairly basic, but I do see some tubes I don't think I've ever encountered before, like a 6CY5 for the RF amp, and a 6CX8 video amp clipper I don't think I've seen before. Here's the audio out, just a single-ended 6CU5, which is a little dinky tube, so unfortunately they don't use much of an amp for that giant speaker. It's probably only 2 or 3 watts, but hopefully it sounds alright. Well, this is nice to see. It's got a real power transformer and a 5U4 rectifier, so no hot chassis, no selenium rectifier, voltage doubler. I don't think I've seen that in a late 50s set so far. Not that I've worked on a lot of late 50s sets. Alright, so it's also got early type circuit boards. So this is made from the same era as the Predictas I've been working on. So similar construction technique. Just a couple circuit boards. You got one up here, one down below. Got some couplates I can see. And kind of cheapo style pots. They're mounted at right angles on the circuit boards. Hopefully they're still good. Flybacks inside here. And this is kind of odd. The high voltage rectifier and probably the damper tube are like exposed, sticking out of the top inside this little open air cage up here. I guess that was for ventilation. There's high voltage connector sticking out. So, really hope this picture tube is good. I posted a picture online and somebody commented it looked like a rebuilt tube. I'm guessing he says that because it's got the chalk mark on there and it doesn't seem to have any original label like GE or anything. He also said that the originals had kind of a short life, similar to the early Predicta shortened CRTs. So that could be a good thing. If it's got a replacement rebuilt tube, that would be good. This is kind of weird. So here's the circuit boards. You got all the components on this side, but the tubes are on the other side. The socket's like face backwards on the board. So looks to be all original. I imagine some tubes have been replaced. but I don't see any evidence of new capacitors. Some of these caps are fairly reliable types, like these guys. And my friend has run his on the original caps, and it seems to run all right. And I think I've seen some guys on various forums who have this solder one in the same family, and they run fairly well on the originals. But I do not like seeing caps like that, those old Black Beauty or Bumblebee caps, or that Elmenco down there. Those are really just paper caps inside of plastic or ceramic housing. Probably a bit leaky, as probably as the electrolytics. So, you know, one electrolytic here, one here. I'm not sure where the main filter cap is though. Power transformer, rectifier. Should be a big can of electrolytic around here somewheres. Oh, I see it. It's just poking through a hole there. I can just see a glimmer of it through that. So, hopefully the Sam's service info has some tips on servicing this, because off the top of my head right now, I'm not quite sure what the best way would be to go about this. I could just start taking out these 1/4-inch nuts and see how it goes, but hopefully there's a methodical way to do this so I can take it apart and put it back together. Because this might not be that bad to work on. Like this little board down here, if these connections come off fairly easily, that's, you know, just one little compact board to work on. Kind of same goes with this, but I don't know. I'm seeing wire wrap posts like same, just like on the Predictas. It's definitely wire wrap posts going to other things. I'm probably gonna have to deal with unwrapping those. Fun. Alright, so all I really care about right now is the picture tube good or not. I'm not going to start restoring this right now. I got to finish my outstanding projects. I really just wanted to rescue this set. And I really don't have anywhere to put it for now. Although I'm inclined to keep this set in my place and put some other stuff into storage. But we'll see. I dug out my Suncor CR70, hooked it up to the CRT. And while doing so, I noticed there was a label, and I cleaned off the dust, and it's got the original GE label, so this might actually be the original picture tube. Well, guess the way to find out if it's any good or not is to fire it up. And I do not see a glow, but then again it is daytime and it's pretty bright in here right now. Let's see, make sure I get this hooked up right. Yeah, F1, F2. Well, maybe it's glowing and I just can't quite see it. So let's just continue on. No cutoff. And no emissions. Yeah, this thing might be burned out. I'll grab an ohm meter and check for continuity on those filament pins. Yeah, no filament continuity. This picture tube's dead, so that's that. Can't get them rebuilt anymore, so this one will have to go into the scrap heap, and I'm going to have to use up one of my precious reserve of spare picture tubes. I hooked up an antenna and I plugged it into my Variac, not because I'm worried about isolation or reducing the line voltage, just because it's fused. So, I'm not sure. Well, so this turned out. I wasn't just about to say I'm not sure if the push-pull position's on or off, but obviously it's on. Tubes are lighting up. Main thing I wanted to check for is this 5U4 and see if it starts overloading and arcing. It looks alright. Of course, we're not going to get any picture, but yes, there is life out of the speaker. It's in the UHF position right now. I'm going to go to channel 6. Nope, it's 5 or 6. I don't think this has fine tuning unless... Okay, this must do double duty, UHF tuning and fine tuning. There you go. Yeah, a decent sound. So YouTube's not going to bust me for that. The volume control actually had minimal effect, and I had it up all the way, so that's about as loud as it gets. And when I went down all the way, the volume didn't decrease too much. Of course, this channel 6 I'm picking up is kind of funky because it's a pseudo radio station / low power TV station, and the audio signal's awfully hot on it, so I could account for that. Alright, so that quick little test told me a whole lot of things. Power transformer's good, caps still have some life, and you know, speaker's good and all that good stuff. But of course, the critical thing is picture tube these days, because you can't get them rebuilt. But the only option is to scrap them out of another TV or get really lucky and find a new old stock one that somebody's willing to part with, which is what I've got. But like I said, I'm going to button this back up and I think put it in my bedroom for now while I get back to my other projects. But one last thing I do want to do is check out these tubes. It occurred to me there is actually one more thing I can test with this set, and that is the high voltage. So I dug out my Pomona high voltage probe. I'm going to clip ground lead under the chassis, and then when I turn the set on, I can bring it over to the high voltage anode there and see what kind of a reading we get. Alright, so set is on now. Oh yeah, you get high voltage. Low though. About 10,000 volts. This tube can run it, typically runs at more like 16,000, so we might have some issues there. Could just be a weak horizontal output tube, could be the driving frequencies off of the horizontal drive might be too low, but we got high voltage, so there's hope for that flyback. So I'm pretty confident this set is restorable. It's just that darn picture tube's bad. Alright, so let's see about this eye tube. Well, it is an RCA, and it is an eye tube, but it sure looks used, and it's actually a 6U5, not a 6E5. Sure hope it has some life left in it. That would make this box worthwhile just by itself. So notice this, which I believe is a 5U4 rectifier. I couldn't find a number on it anywhere, but it's in an adapter to a 4-pin base, so I'm thinking this might be a 5U4 to Type 80 adapter. I don't think the specs are quite the same, but maybe in a pinch it would work. I think the 5U4 probably has a higher filament current draw. I'm not positive about that. See, there's some compactrons in here, which I really have no use for. So none of my TVs are new enough to use them. But I'll hang on to them in case I ever need them. 2-inch permanent magnet speaker. Might be used in a transistor radio. There's a whole bunch of common TV tubes, 6 GH8As. BQ5, audio output tube, 6E8, these are just all kind of boring, run-of-the-mill 7 and 9 pin TV tubes, 50L6 audio output tube for All American 5. I can't tell if these are used or not. I mean, it's dirty, it's dusty, but it is an RCA, and it isn't an RCA box, and the pins look clean, so I don't know, maybe there's just a lot of dust and dirt blowing around where these tubes are stored. This looks like some sort of homemade high voltage adapter or something or another. 6AG7. I think I can use these in some of my Admiral TVs for an audio preamp. Type 75 Philco. I think my Philco 60 uses those. It's octal tubes. It's a 6 SN7, I'd guess. 35Z5. Those are pretty good tubes. At least these octals are. Another 6 SN7 GTB. I got plenty of stuff to use the 6 SN7s. 6K6. Let's use those too. 6J5, those are nice to have. 6SH7. I think my GE802 uses one or two of those. I'm not sure. That's kind of odd. It's a 6K6. Like, where'd it go? Like this guy. But it's a GT style, made by Spartan, so it's got a metal collar around the base. I don't think I've ever seen a 6K6 GT before. Let's see. One LA6, I think that's used for battery operated sets. 12J5. It's used in shortwave receivers. 685, damper tube, bunch of Pactrons. Just quickly dig through these. 6SM7 GTB. Just curious if there's any like hidden treasures down at the bottom of the box. One Loctal 7F7. I just finished doing a quick pass through the tubes and I'm quite happy. It's a solid mix of late 40 and through the 50s tubes. Aside from the Compactrons, I have sets that use pretty much all these tubes, so I just have to hope that they're actually good. So for now, I'm just going to put this set off to the side while I finish off some other projects, like that Philco radio I recently picked up. But I think I'll get back to it sooner than later, as it seems to be pretty close to working as is, other than of course the picture tube. Now I have posted about this set online, and somebody has the original factory service info, and I hope to get a scanned copy of that. And I'm really hoping it includes some tips on dismantling the set and servicing it and replacing the picture tube. I also got a possible suggestion on rewelding, repairing that broken filament. There are a bunch of videos on YouTube showing people do a trick with a light bulb where you apply power to it and tap it, rotate it, and if the two loose filament ends touch, they may weld back together. Now that assumes a few things. One, that the CRT is still under vacuum. Two, that there are loose ends of the filament that can make contact with each other, and three, that the filament doesn't weld itself to the cathode or something like that. I don't know, but it'd be fun to experiment with that anyways. But if you recall, in a very recent video, I also picked up one of these, which is a test CRT, same deflection angle, 110 degrees, and it's even the same company, GE. So I can certainly use this CRT in this set while I get it running. And then I was doing a little bit of research on this, which is a 21 ESP4, and I think this will work. I couldn't find any real good specific data on it, but this is actually a GE picture tube as well, and this tests like brand new. Dimension-wise, I'm pretty sure it's darn near identical. The thing I'm not 100% sure about is the voltage ratings. But the guy who sold it to me said that he's used them in predictors before and they work fine. So I think it'll work in this okay. I just couldn't find any specs online for it. But it is from about from the same year, 5960. That much I do know. So yeah, that'll be it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this look at an GE coaxial set from about 1959.